Conference champion Memphis Tigers against SMU in what was the game of the year in the AAC a season ago.
We welcome you into our Charlotte studios. Anish Shroff with Tom Luganbill. Chris Budden will join us momentarily from Dallas. Well, 28 days later, Memphis takes the field. The first game since September 5th against Arkansas State.
Well, and it's got to worry you to death if you're head coach Ryan Silverfield. All of the game management situations, clock management, 2-minute, 4-minute, your red zone production. There's only so much you can simulate. SMU's got a 3-game head start, and you look at the timeline right here, Anish, and all of the different things that they've had to deal with just to get on the field.
After their game against Arkansas State the following Tuesday, they had to pause practice for more than a week. Players couldn't even use the facility for a while, and Ryan Silverfield told us they didn't have their first, quote, real practice until this past Tuesday.
Yeah, so you're concerned about conditioning, and you're also concerned about getting your best 11 on the field all at one time. Keep in mind, when you're getting back on the field, you're doing it in different increments and stages. One position group might take this time, another position group might take this time, and you know what? There's no 11-11. There's no live contact, and now you've got to play a game versus a 3-0 SMU squad.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for SMU. They have 3 games under their belt going in.
That they have as close to full strength as they have been since they had to shut down practice. Everyone on the 2 deep is available today. In fact, this team was so excited to get here and play this game that the entire team was out here more than 2 hours before the game practicing. Coach said, go get those nerves out. Just don't tire yourself out, Anish. Is this team ready to go after missing 4 weeks?
When we spoke to Ryan Silverfield earlier in the week, he said, this feels like game 1 all over again.
Yeah, and his kids are so excited just to have the opportunity to compete and understanding what it's taken to get to this point. You're a first-year head coach. He's called a variety of coaches across the country, 30-year veterans in this profession. Sonny Dykes has done it for a long time as well. And nobody has a blueprint for how to navigate this. You just got to hope the excitement and the enthusiasm of your football team can maybe compensate for a lack of in-game action.
SMU won the toss and will receive the opening kickoff. Riley Patterson sends it away for Memphis. And the Mustangs will take it out at the 25-yard line, where they are led by one of the best quarterbacks in the American Conference, Shane Buechele. The numbers have been strong this year, but when we talk to the coaches, you got the sense that he's still leaving a little on the table.
Yeah, they've gotten off to fast starts, but Shane Buechele, they sputtered a little bit in the second and third quarter a week ago, and the one hallmark of his game is that he's accurate and that he throws guys open. He leads targets, and last week, he was a guy that just was a little bit off. There were some dropped balls, there were some low throws, there were some high throws. He's got to get back in sync, get into rhythm, and do what he does best, and that makes accurate throws.
On first down, the give is to TJ McDaniel, who already has a couple of 100-yard games under his belt, and the sophomore from Southlake holding his ankle after his first carry.
Oh, Anish, this does not look good. This is the battering ram in this offense, and TJ McDaniel is so reliable. He's the guy that you know is going to get you the hard yards. This is really unfortunate from that visual we just saw.
Timeout on the field.
Injury timeout as McDaniel is attended to. You mentioned he's the battering ram, the workhorse back.
Our sponsor for today's game is Sewell Automotive Companies.
Coming off a 100-yard game against Stephen F. Austin. An inauspicious start for SMU. McDaniel injured on the game's first play from scrimmage. First play of the game for SMU, starting running back TJ McDaniel suffered what looks to be an apparent left leg injury. The reason we're just showing you this angle, all the other replay angles, too gruesome. This is going to be a significant hit for this SMU offense.
It is. It really, it's a dent in their depth. And you saw number 94, Joseph Dorcius there, the defensive tackle for Memphis, coming in low on that tackle. Very unfortunate for this SMUO.
First throw of the game for Shane Buechele, and he overshot Reggie Robertson. 3rd down and 6. into the game at running back now is Ulysses Bentley, the redshirt freshman, who's number 2 on the depth chart, but leading the nation in rushing yards and tied for the national lead in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, so we're certainly not going to see a drop-off in production, but you do have to limit some of the touches from Bentley just because of the measurables, you know, sitting at just 185 pounds. But boy, is he explosive, and look out for him in space.
The speedy Danny Gray motions. Memphis brings pressure. Here's Bentley in space. Makes one man miss, and you caught a glimpse of what he's able to do.
Yeah, you take the catch, you make the open defender miss in space, and you get the extended yardage after the attempted tackle. This is where he, watch, oh boy, I tell you, he just a little bit, he's slippery. And I think that's the thing that stands out. And if he gets into the open field, look out.
He comes into this game averaging a touchdown about every 5.5 touches. And his first carry, Bentley averaging better than 10.5 yards per carry. So the average number's taking a big hit early for Ulysses Bentley.
Well, the game is early. It is early. We're just under 14 minutes in the first quarter. But listen, this is what Sonny Dykes, the SMU head coach, told us he wanted to be. A physical line of scrimmage football team that's going to run the football first, and they're showing that early here.
Anathema to what you expect from the air raid. This is more like it, and it's Robertson downfield. Did he stay in bounds? He did, and a first down for SMU.
You see the 200-pound, 6-foot senior on a wonderful back shoulder throw. It does look like he got his left foot in just in bounds. Very impressive.
And they will look at that right before SMU snapped the ball. Mustangs trying to go quickly.
Previous play is under further review.
Anish, this was a well-thrown football because you threw it high and behind so that you give Robertson a chance to go up and get it in a contested matchup. Look at the left foot. No question that taps inbounds. I don't see any indication that could overrule this, Anish.
So why drag it out then, right? This should be, in theory,
done right now.
A quick replay, and we should be playing ball in moments.
No question. And what a great individual effort. Again, the throw down the sideline, put where you have an opportunity right there. The heel does not go down out of bounds. The toe is in bounds. Well done by Robertson. This will stand.
And the ruling on the field is a completed pass, so there is no indisputable evidence to overturn that. One of the things Sonny Dykes told us was that he wanted to go fast. He felt his team has a conditioning advantage.
Yes.
We talked about it in the open. The Mustangs have played 3 games. Memphis hasn't played in almost a month. And he said early in the game, if we can get some first downs, go downfield, all of a sudden you can add a little bit more pressure to the other side.
Well, you can, because you get the tongues drag and running sideline to sideline, and now you start affecting the Memphis depth, because they're going to have to play with a lot of bodies if you're Memphis, given the last month and your limited practice time. I don't know why this is taking so long, Anish. And to your point, we should be back playing right now.
After further review, the ruling the field has been confirmed. First down, SMU.
Emphasis on further review.
Yeah, further and further. No question about it.
SMU has been a fast starter. They've outscored opponents 43-0 in the first quarter of their first 3 games this year, and that was a big strength a season ago when the Mustangs won 10 games. Couple of teams that have big dreams. These were 2 teams that when they played last year in Memphis, you had game day in town. Both were nationally ranked. Tyler Levine getting the call there, the former walk-on. And now he's going to be looked at as someone to bring a little thump to that running game with McDaniel out.
Well, and he'll do that now. Look at him. He looks like a kegerator. I mean, he is a physical downhill runner that's going to push the pile. And again, you get that 1-2 punch between Bentley on the perimeter and in space and winning foot races, and the ability to get those tough yards right in front of you at the line of scrimmage.
Downfield, and it's caught by Danny Gray, who Sonny Dykes calls maybe the fastest player I've ever been around.
Yeah, he can really go. He gets into this corner route real quickly, avoids contact there, and then makes the adjustment, has to kind of come back over his left shoulder. But that's what you do, right? If you're a playmaker, the ball's not going to be perfect all the time, so it's up to you to make the play.
Bentley in at running back, red zone opportunity. They've got Robertson lined up in the slot. Here is Ulysses Bentley. Shaky, slippery, elusive, and he's to the 11.
I think with most backs, that is a 1 yard loss or back to the line of scrimmage type of run. He's so difficult to get a clean shot at because his wiggle and his lateral agility is exceptional.
SMU has been outstanding in the red zone this year. Well, now they've got Gray in the backfield along with Bentley, and Gray motions out. Back to Bentley. And he's taken down at the 10-yard line and sets up third down.
I want to give Memphis some credit in their defensive front. Now, they're not very big. They're 2 tackles, 6'1", 297. That's O'Brien Goodson. 94, Joseph Dorcius, 6 foot 277. And in the opener, SMU had a difficult time blocking bodies that were similar builds to this that Texas State had in that opener. And Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator, was worried about that this week.
Buechele gets rid of it quickly, incomplete for Gray. That's a touchdown if he holds on.
Well, pressure bursts the pipe, right? You see a guy right in the face of Shane Buechele, and it just causes him to be slightly off. You see him tapping his chest there, and you're right. If he puts that a foot in front of the numbers, Gray's walking in the end zone.
So Chris Nagar on for the field goal attempt. Grad transfer who is a former walk-on at Texas. And he handles all the kicking duties for SMU. Field goals, kickoffs, and punts. And the Mustangs on the board first. 10 plays, 65 yards. Nagar finishes with 3.
ESPN College Football is presented by Sling TV, the smart choice for live TV.
Some pictures from when SMU and Memphis played last year with game day on Beale Street. What a wild game, 54-48. The Tigers prevailed. More than 100 points, more than 1,000 yards of total offense. SMU striking first today, but they were struck a big blow on the very first play when starting running back TJ McDaniel went down.
Yeah, it really depletes the depth, and you see Shane Buechele, he knew immediately that this was not good, helped off the field. And again, you still have your playmakers at that position. It was a position that was a question mark coming into the season, but you just hate to see that because of what this young man means to this football team.
SMU's drive stalled at the 10-yard line, but they settled for 3. And now Memphis will have the ball on offense in a real live football game for the first time since September 5th against Arkansas State.
With 11 people on the field at the same time. And Coach Ryan Silverfield talked about how they would get 11 people out on the practice field, all spread out 6 feet apart. So nothing's been real to this point. Now it's real.
And Memphis will take it out at the 25-yard line. The leader of this Tiger offense is the 6th-year senior Brady White. He's from the much ballyhooed high school quarterback class of 2015. And this guy was a big-time recruit coming out of high school. He went to Arizona State. He was ranked higher than Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold, and Drew Lock, who were all in his class.
And he's found a home here. He followed Mike Norvell. The offense was a perfect fit. They have not changed many things, and this offense is his and his alone. He runs the entire thing.
White to the air on first down, and a little miscommunication intended for Calvin Austin, the track star, 2nd and 10.
I think one of the things you're going to notice here, Anish, is this is not an offense where the quarterback claps his hands or lifts his foot and then looks to the sideline to get an adjustment. Once the play is given to Brady White, he makes all the calls pre-snap, gets him out of bad plays into the right one. He's just a cerebral, sharp guy.
Against a 3-man rush, Out of the backfield, that is Rodriguez Clark, taken down by Richard McBride, the team's leading tackler for SMU last year. Clark has a bigger role now as the feature running back. Kenneth Gainwell, who in my estimation was the best skill player in the American Conference, has opted out of this season. And he was more than just a running back. He was also a terrific receiver. So is this guy, DeMonte Coxey, who hauls it in close to midfield. Coxey led the league in receiving yards last year.
Yeah, Coxey, a 6'3", big target with long arms. You saw that wasn't an ideal perfect throw, but you give him a chance to make the adjustment. Really good backfield action, too, prior to the throw.
Incomplete. Slipping was Taj Washington. Tempo is going to be something to watch when Memphis has the ball.
Yeah, you know, in Ryan Silverfield, we talked about this. It's one thing to go fast. It's an entirely different thing to go fast and execute well. I think they have to get a feel for getting into rhythm, getting into tempo, the flow of the game. Keep in mind, there's a 3-week head start on them for SMU. So it doesn't have to happen right away. Get yourself in rhythm and then start making some incremental improvements in terms of tempo.
High snap. The give is to Clark. Churning, and he picks up the first down. That's what he gives you, a little power at the end of the run.
We're going to see him and Kylan Watkins, and this Memphis offensive line is really good as a zone blocking scheme. And you're going to see him get up to the line of scrimmage here quickly. This is where the tempo comes into play.
White's got time. Down the seam, and he just missed his intended target, Austin.
Boy, Brady White, I bet he wishes he had this one back. You love the idea, right? You get the first down, you run to the line of scrimmage, and then you take a shot. And this is one of those moments where you say, okay, do you attribute that to a lack of practice time? You know, there's a reason why we call this a game of inches. Well, there are the inches right there, folks.
On the ground, flag is down. Marquavius Weaver getting the call.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face. Defense number 91. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
And that's Terrence Newman, the big 315-pound space eater.
Right in the middle of the screen, you look at him. I mean, he is an absolute load. And you know what happens?
The penalty is half the distance.
When you're 5'11", and you're playing with leverage and you're low, unfortunately, you're going to get some of that. You're going to get some hands to the face and the neck area. It's one of the reasons why you win some of those trench battles.
Hey, all things considered, given the layoff, Memphis already with a red zone opportunity to begin this game. Wilson, the tight end, motions, and now movement on that left side. And how much will that be?
Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Oh, being easy that time, but that's where maybe the rust comes into play with penalties and things like that.
You work through the procedure stuff. You work through the silly stuff that you can control. Probably got a lot of juice right now because you're so excited and your adrenaline is pumping. And that's uncharacteristic of this unit. It's been very, very strong in the offensive line.
White off play action. Over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Coxey, it was broken up. It's third down.
Brandon Stevens, Brandon Stevens, a wonderful job there. And really almost picked it off, and Coxey couldn't wrestle that football away. And you look at the footwork right there for Brady White. His feet got him in trouble. I think he rushed the football a little bit. One of the reasons why it was an errant throw.
Stevens had his first career interception against North Texas a few weeks ago. A converted running back. That's what the position he played at UCLA. Up the middle, and that's Weaver, who is now the #2 running back behind Clark, with Cameron Fleming out with a leg injury.
About the confidence in this Memphis offensive line. You're 2nd and 15. You line up and say, you know what? Stop us. You run it right up the gut. Now you've got 3rd and manageable. And here's where the veteran quarterback comes in, Anish. You got a guy that understands the situation, situational awareness of the red area. You got to come away with points here.
White, statistically one of the best quarterbacks in this conference last year. looking for 6 and incomplete. So Riley Patterson will come on for a short field goal try.
Hey, you're coming away with points. To your point, Anish, you mounted a pretty solid drive. It's been a month. There's some things to correct, but all in all, you couldn't make a mistake down there in the red area. You got to tie this ball game up right here.
And the field goal by Patterson, one of the best in the country, is good from 25. Both teams trading field goals early. Gerald J. Ford Stadium in Dallas, the setting for the American Conference on ESPN. Capacity 32,000, but limited at 8,000 due to our current climate. Memphis knows all about the impact of COVID. They had to pause practice shortly after their first game of the season, then had one game postponed, another canceled. Here they are playing game 2, 28 days after the season opener.
Wearing their ever-elusive white tiger road unis. Normally donning the blue and silver.
A touchback and a time for us to check in with the studio and Kevin Connors. Wow. Shane Buechele finds a wide open Kylan Granson, and the tight end rumbles into Memphis territory. 2 quick things. The Pitt loss surprises me because they've got a D-line that can potentially give Clemson trouble. If your team's in the American and contenders like Memphis and SMU, a Texas loss is great for you. Let the Big 12 keep beating up on itself.
Yeah, there's no question that the group of 5, the American BYU's keeping a close eye on what's happening in the Big 12. You know, Kylan Granson right there, the tight end, he's kind of been the hidden gem in all of this. We talk about the receivers. We talk about Shane Buechele. SMU's got the leading rusher and Ulysses Bentley right now in college football. But it's Kylan Granson, and when you start focusing in the backfield, you get the seam throw down the middle to open up this drive. Very important completion for Shane Buechele.
Levine ran for 3. Now Bentley back in at running back. Buechele under pressure, able to escape, sidearm sling, and it's caught near the marker. Granson again.
Boy, was that crafty by Shane Buechele. Little pocket movement. Find a way to change the arm angle so that you can get the ball out. He has to get this ball out, but he's got to get it around somebody. You see him make the initial rush or miss. And then you got the low elbow, the little flick of the wrist. I'm liking that. That's got some savvy to it.
Buechele can't get away this time. He had a play in the North Texas game when the entire defense collapsed on him. And he somehow pinballed away like he was escaping the Chateau d'If.
That was a questionable call right there. You've got the nation's leading rusher in Ulysses Bentley. You've got the best offensive line that Sonny Dykes, the head coach at SMU, feels like he's got. Run the football. Now you're putting yourself in a 4-down situation.
And it looks like they're going to go for it.
They
4th
should.
down and 4. Unless Sonny Dykes called timeout. We do have a timeout.
I think Garrett Riley wishes he had
Please
that call back.
reset the game clock to 6:25. It'll start on my signal. 6:25 on the game clock. If it is malfunctioning, clock will be held on the field. Clock will be held on the field.
I'm told no timeout there, so a clock malfunction. There is a clock malfunction. They're going to keep the clock on the field, as you heard. It should read 6:25. Now, these are some of the things we're calling this game in our Charlotte studios. You can't really see from here what's going on with the clock. What does the scoreboard's clock say?
On the field.
There it is.
There it is, 6:40.
Clock.
Scoreboard clock. And they will keep that on the field.
And listen, that creates challenges for you with your clock management, your time management, where you can't just look up and see where you're at as an offense.
It is 4th and 4 from inside the 40. Buechele on the slant, and he's got Rashee Rice. Rice had a statement game last year against Memphis, filling in for the injured Reggie Robertson.
Yeah, and he's really kind of emerged as a go-to guy on critical downs. And listen, that throw last week, Shane Buechele missed. You got the slant, you want to throw it low into the inside, so if it's tipped, it doesn't get intercepted. You get the completion, you move the chains, and away you go.
Rice had 7 catches for 122 yards against Memphis last year. Pressure coming, picked up. Buechele with time, clean pocket, and good coverage by Jacoby Francis, who returns to the lineup after not playing in the opener.
The biggest difference I'm seeing right now in this first quarter is Memphis's athletes on defense are able to match up, for the most part, with SMU. SMU's gotten off to such a fast start in all 3 of their games, and even today, but there aren't a lot of wide open windows right now for Shane Buechele to throw the football into.
Ulysses Bentley stumbles as Jaleel Clemens will take credit for that TFL.
Jaleel Clemens, defensive coordinator Mike McIntyre, raved about this young man, says he is going to be a great player, just a sophomore, 6'3", 240-pounder. Memphis, their linebacking core looks like a Power 5 team. They are big, rangy, and physical, and can match up with some of this SMU skill.
Yeah, they really like the Mike linebacker, 23, J.J. Russell. Thomas Pickens, a 5th-year senior. He's back after missing the opener, and all that is without Tim Hart, who opted out.
Yep.
On 3rd and 14. Francis coming off a corner blitz. Buechele's going to tuck and run. And he's got the first down. How about Shane? And it's going to be a late hit on Memphis to tack on some more yards.
Yeah, Cole Mashburn's going to get called here, number 46. But initially what created this play is Memphis was not gap sound with their blitz. Their late rusher and their defensive end both went in the same gap. They lose contain. Shane Buechele is able to escape, use his legs, and get down. You see right here. That's a dangerous play and an unnecessary one late.
Defense number 46. Half the distance from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
In Anish, they can't afford these types of penalties. They can't afford to have these things happen to them. They're not conditioned enough. They haven't executed well enough to deal with silly penalties.
SMU's game plan was to keep this defense on the field. And again, just silliness there by Cole Mashburn, costing his team.
Unnecessary.
So tack on 15 yards. SMU ball at the 11. Second to trip inside the red zone today. Gray out of the backfield. Got a nice block by Robertson. And he's taken out of bounds at the 3.
Robertson, number 8 there on the perimeter, just enough. And he doesn't hold, he doesn't let cloth tear away, so you get that call back. And Donald Gray just needs a half a step. He's the fastest player on the field.
And here's where you miss TJ McDaniel, who could pick up those tough yards between the tackles. They've got 31, Tyler Levine in the backfield. McDaniel, the starting running back, went down on the first play of the game with a left leg injury. Buechele pumps, throws, touchdown, Danny Gray.
This is what you call the second hole slant. You can't hit the first hole, but the second hole, he goes around the corner. And that's just an adjustment by Donald Gray right there. He doesn't think he can cross his face. So you have the underneath slant from the slot and then the outside guy. And that's just an adjustment in good combination between quarterback and wide receiver.
PAT by Nagar is good. Danny Gray slipping past Sylvante Oliver. a young cornerback who's a junior college transfer who this Memphis coaching staff likes, but Arkansas State did pick on him a lot too.
They knew he was the new guy. They think he's going to be a really good player, and it was good for him to have that happen to him. These are great teachable moments. Right there, he just got out-athleted by Donald Gray. And you know, this SMU team, Anish, they're up 7 now. They kind of look like they're the favorite instead of the team chasing Memphis.
And that has not always been the case. Memphis owns this rivalry, and the Tigers have won the last 6 meetings. Now, the margin has gotten smaller and smaller over the years. 2018, Memphis winning by 10. Last year, a wild game.
Yep.
And the difference in last year's game, frankly, was special teams.
Yeah, no question. And both of these teams are improved in the kicking game. You lose the production of the return game for Memphis with Kenny Gainwell and Antonio Gibson gone. Those guys were a big part of that. They always had great field position. But it is clear that SMU, as we showed you right there from a point differential standpoint, gaining ground on the Memphis Tigers.
A chance here for Memphis. The dangerous Gabriel Rogers taken down shy of the 20. Let's take a closer look at Memphis's offensive line with pocket protection brought to you by Nationwide.
This is a group that is really good, as we talked about, in the zone run game and then exploiting the cutback. Right here, you see that hole, and you get to the second level, and that's where their athletes come to play. Look at this double team, and then work up to the linebacker. Pop! Right there, just a really nice job of awareness in the offensive line now. Look at the offensive line downfield, really nice job. Not a great job at the point of attack by 17, but Gibson, again, no longer with Memphis, breaks that tackle. So this offensive line is a group that this Memphis offense is going to rely upon.
Some new faces, some guys playing different positions this year. And there's Kylan Watkins, his first touch. Helmet comes off for Chevin Callaway, who by rule has to come off for one play.
Now, Drayton Clark, number 2, who we saw in the first series, he's a little bit more of a decisive one-cut downhill. What Kylan Watkins has got to do is give up on the dancing. And we have another procedure penalty for Memphis.
If that's Eze, it's his second.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Left tackle, Obinna Eze, native Nigerian who came to the U.S. to play basketball, only played a year of high school football.
High upside guy. Those are the types of linemen that coaches love. Number 1, a multi-sport
Scoreboard
athlete.
clock is now official.
Number 2, you haven't even scratched your ceiling for what you're going to be yet.
Washington in motion. Out of the backfield, it's Watkins. Memphis over the last few years has had really good hybrid guys. Antonio Gibson, Kenneth Gainwell, certainly as good as there was in college football last year. Tony Pollard. That type of guy doesn't exist, but Kylan Watkins can fill that role.
He can. I think he's got to be a little bit more physical in traffic, as we saw in those previous 2 attempts.
On 3rd and 7, 4-man rush, and it's knocked away by Stevens.
Brandon Stevens, as you mentioned, the UCLA transfer, came into the program as a running back, said, "Coach, I just want to play and put me on defense to see if I can fit there." And a nice job. He's got the right arm around the waist of Coxie, but times up the pass deflect perfectly. If you're SMU here, Anish, you love this opportunity because you're going to get great field position to start your 3rd series on offense.
Adam Williams gets it off, and this is TQ Jackson making his SMU debut. The Arkansas transfer who has a world of potential. Flag down. It looked like there was some contact near the kicker.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 29. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick, first down.
SMU with a first down after the penalty. We check in again with Kevin. They really struggled to run the ball last year.
Right.
Letty Brown and that Mountaineer running game has been much more effective this year. Ulysses Bentley, the call, and you know, it's interesting. For years, Dana Holgerson was at West Virginia. Air raid, right? Toward the end of his tenure there, he started to run the ball.
Yep.
Sonny Dykes at SMU, when we spoke to he and the offensive coaches, an emphasis on running the football. That's not what the air raid is all about.
But you got to get linemen, and they have found linemen here at SMU. And when you've got them, again, they're not standing on every street corner. You can find receivers and running backs, but they've got a group they think is special, and so it changes your philosophy offensively.
And the new contemporary frontier of the air raid is the ground pound. And there's Ulysses Bentley setting up third down.
So you're third and manageable. I think the point needs to be made. You can be an air raid based pass concept team and still have a focus and a foundation of being a physical up front team that wants to run the football. That's not against the law. You know, that can be done.
Do you see Mike Leach ever doing that?
Well, he doesn't have a tight end on the field, and they are spreading far more four wide stuff. This is a team that's going to be in more 11 personnel, sometimes 21 personnel. That's 2 backs, 1 tight end, and a lot more looks and formations.
On third down, Bouchel going long. Robertson in stride. It's a foot race. They won't catch him.
Nish, we mentioned how Shane Bouchel wasn't quite on target last week. Got off to a fast start, but then sputtered a little bit. So far today, he has been throwing darts. He's thrown catchable passes. He's thrown 2 balls deep downfield. This isn't an offense that takes a tremendous amount of shots, but when they do, he's been on target today. And this is just, can I avoid the press and get downfield and get over the top? When you don't get your hands, and you're TJ Carter, number 2, and you don't get your hands in press on the target at the line of scrimmage, you've got no chance, especially if you're speed deficient.
Reggie Robertson began his career at West Virginia. Like so many on this SMU roster, he was a transfer who wanted to come back to his home state. And Robertson is the blueprint for the success this program has had, going back to the Chad Morris days and also under Sonny Dykes.
Listen, the recruiting landscape has changed so much because you have the transfer portal, you have grad transfers, you have the ability to get the waiver and immediately help the next team that you're going to arrive at. And it's really changed. You know, you used to not be able to just flip a roster in a year or two. Now you kind of can.
4th receiving touchdown already for Reggie Robertson. And Nagar not giving Memphis a chance. We give Kevin Connors another chance in the studio. And now for this week's college football rankings, brought to you by Capital One. Looking at the AP Top 10, Clemson, Alabama, per usual. You know, Luke's, what's interesting about Bama A&M, the Manziel game, didn't that change Nick Saban's way of thinking when it came to running offense?
Yeah, no question. I think it also changed his way of thinking when it came to playing defense versus the mobile quarterback. They altered things defensively as well. But yeah, I think Coach Saban said, I'm so sick and tired of chasing after these guys. Let's go get one ourselves.
They've gotten a few.
Yeah, they have.
2nd and 6 after a 4-yard completion. And Dreek Clark that time ran into his own man and then ate the turf. 3rd down.
Got to see if Memphis can get back into some rhythm here. 3rd down, you're backed up. They were backed up on their last series, had to punt, gave SMU great field position. This is a really important line to gain for Memphis on offense.
Little four-man twist by the Mustangs. White buying time, finds Clark. Made the first two defenders miss before McBride finishes them off. It'll bring up 4th down. And for SMU, this first quarter went according to plan. They knew Memphis hadn't played in a while. They wanted to come out fast. Well, they did just that with 17 points in the opening 15 minutes. The Mustangs have now scored 57 more points than their opponents in the first quarter this year. You're watching ESPN College Football presented by Sling TV. Start of the second quarter in Dallas. Anish Shroff, Tom Luganbill from our Charlotte studio. Chris Budden down on the field at Gerald J. Ford Stadium. 4th and 3. Memphis going for it from inside its own 35. And they convert Taj Washington on the shovel pass as we check in with Chris.
Well, one of the things the Memphis players told me this week is even without half their team at practices, the hard thing is when you don't have a game to look forward to, you start to lose that mental focus.
Big hit leveled on Clark. How hard is that, Tom?
I think it's incredibly difficult, Chris. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You're trying to keep up a level of intensity, and you know every week you have that light at the end of the tunnel. They haven't had a light at the end of the tunnel for almost a month, and now they're finally on the field, and you can see they're working off some of the rust.
White throws, it's juggled. Coxie makes the catch. And in SMU territory.
Anish, one of the other things is for these guys that were in quarantine, I talked to a few of them, they couldn't even work out. I asked if you could jump rope in their room, and some of these guys were like, well, my room's really small. I tried doing some push-ups or doing whatever, but in terms of getting that conditioning back, from what some coaches told me, it's 7 to 10 days after you get out of quarantine before you get that conditioning back to where it was.
Not that we are on this level athletically, but think about it. If you're sitting at home and you go to the gym regularly and you take a week or 10 days off, then when you go back in and those weights that
after
you were lifting
the play
easily,
was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 5 of the offense and number 18 of the defense. Those fouls will offset. The down counts. It is 2nd down.
Yeah, so Sean Dykes and Chase Cromartie.
Correction, it is 5 of the defense and 18 of the offense. That is the first unsportsmanlike foul for the game.
So making Armani Johnson and Taj Washington. But the point being, you're out from the gym for an extended period of time, sometimes even a week. When you get back in there, those weights start to feel a little heavier.
Well, and keep in mind, too, it's one thing to be working out with your squad, with your strength and conditioning staff, and they're pushing you. I mean, they are pushing you. When you can't work out, and then when you try to and you don't have anybody there pushing you, from a motivation standpoint, you're already probably not feeling great. You're frustrated. You want to be out there. There's just so many, I think, mental hurdles for everybody that's dealing with this in college football. Many have not dealt with it to the level that Memphis has to this point. I mean, we're talking about a man right there in Ryan Silverfield, the head coach, that is literally mapping out where people should sit on a bus, where they should sit on a plane, who's had COVID, who hasn't. All right, let's sit him around Brady White. We can be protected. We got to protect our quarterback. Big throw here.
And a first down throw to the tight end, Cameron Wilson from Bessemer, Alabama, home to
Jameis Winston
and Bo Jackson. There's one more. And if you get this one, I'm buying dinner.
Bessemer, Alabama.
Gucci Mane. Flags down, incomplete.
Pass interference, defense number 1. Ball be placed at the spot of foul. Automatic, first down.
Colorado State transfer Brandon Crossley. And there was nothing subtle.
See how frustrated the intended target was? Get off me. imperative that Memphis comes up with a touchdown here. They need to get some confidence. They need to get back in this game, take back some of the momentum that SMU seems to have consumed in the first half so far.
Kylan Watkins. And he is tripped up by Jimmy Phillips.
We were mentioning, the bus rides, the plane rides, literally saying, okay, how do we get our best players on the field each week by making sure that we cordon them all off in different types of pods? And that's what they're doing every single day just to give themselves a chance to get on the field.
On second down, they'll keep it on the ground again. And that's Asa Martin, who began his career at Auburn, had a brief stop at Miami before coming to Memphis, but a big-time high school running back in the state of Alabama. Third down and 4 now for Memphis. And Martin, who is headed to the sideline, back in. Big play early in this game with all the momentum on the side of the Mustangs. White standing in, pumps, throws off his back foot. It's caught by Austin. There is a flag down. A touchdown if it stands.
Wow.
The touchdown will come off the board.
Pass interference, offense, number 13. 15-yard penalty, repeat third down.
So
It's on Javon Ivory.
Yeah, who really wasn't involved from what we could tell in the eventual outcome of this late throw by Brady White to Calvin Austin. Look at the bottom of your screen. You're going to see 13 right there, and they're going to call this essentially a pick. And when you're attempting to do what Ivory is doing, but you got to be subtle about it, and you can't face up the defender. That's where they got in trouble.
Easy call. It sets up 3rd and 19.
SMU takes their first charge timeout of the half.
Sonny Dykes wants a timeout to talk it over defensively. Big third down coming up for Memphis on the other side. Anish Shroff, Tom Luganbill, Chris Budden. 3rd and long, Memphis, a scoring opportunity. DeMonte Coxey's one of their go-to guys in the passing game, but Brandon Stevens has covered him well today.
Yes, he shut him down, and then we haven't seen much from tight end Sean Dykes. Memphis is 1 for 4 so far on 3rd down, and 3rd and 19. There's not a lot of calls in the playbook for that conversion. This could possibly be 4-down territory if you're Memphis on offense.
5-man rush. White hit as he throws it. It's intercepted by Crossley. Interceptions now in back-to-back games for the sophomore from Dallas, who transferred in from Colorado State.
Intended for Calvin Austin, and he's just 5'9". He gets caught up with Crossley. See Brady White discussing it with Ryan Silverfield, the head coach. He gets caught up and he goes down, and it's not necessarily a poorly thrown ball, but the matchup maybe isn't ideal. It's not as if you had a 6'2", 6'3" target that could go up and make that play when contested. The moment Austin went down, that play was going to get negative.
And we've got takeaway, turnover, bottle service.
Bottle service. Only in Highland Park.
Only in Highland Park. Well, you're not going to go up and order your own drink. Another flag is down.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Offense, number 79. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
You know, Anish, Memphis is okay here, but what Memphis cannot do, and the way this game will get away from them, is if they keep giving up explosive plays to this SMU offense. That's really been the difference. That's why there's 17 points. Memphis has to make SMU earn their yards, not 40-yard gainers, not 70 over the top for touchdowns. That's been the difference here in the first half.
Penalty was on Danielson. Ike backs the Mustangs up to the 10. Safety blitz. Bentley. And he's tripped up in the backfield. Great tackle in space that time.
Yeah, that's J.J. Russell. He comes from inside out, takes a great angle. And I'll tell you, if he doesn't trip up Bentley, he bounces to the edge and he's turning the corner.
Yeah, the safety came in. There was nobody back.
No doubt. That was a really, really well-made tackle.
Russell, a 3-year starter. Buechele 9 out of 12. Gets away from Dorcius. Throws Patrick Mahomes-esque. And there is a flag down. Might be a late hit after Danny Gray caught it.
It might be a targeting call as well. Probably not a late hit. And Donald Gray hung on to the football, made the catch, and that was a violent shot.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 23. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That play is under further review.
Now remember, targeting has to be confirmed by the replay review booth. And that's J.J. Russell. One more look.
Well, and we just talked about how important he's been to this defense, and if there's ever a definition of what I perceive targeting to be, that kind of meets the textbook definition.
A receiver attempting to make a catch is a defenseless player by rule. And you look at Russell, it seemed there was certainly contact with the crown of the helmet.
Yep. Well, just what you see right there in the middle of your screen, the forcible contact to the head or neck area, all right, of a defenseless opponent, or any forcible hit by crown of the helmet. And in the 3 looks that we've given, I think this will be upheld.
And that's a big loss to this Memphis defense.
It's a huge loss. We've talked about how physical and big. It's a Power 5 type of linebacking squad for Memphis. J.J. Russell just made that great tackle on Ulysses Bentley. Here you see him in coverage. Comes back, and you love the effort. You love the physicality. You just can't be up in that area. And you've already got him tackled, okay? Number 30, Roddy Owens, his linebacking mate right there, has already made the tackle. I kind of feel a little bit for him because this was a bit of a bang-bang hit, the timing of it. Donald Gray turned to face him.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting. Number 23 can remain in the game. It is second down.
The only thing there that I would say is with the player about to go down, forcible contact. Was it enough forcible contact there?
Or could you say he wasn't defenseless because he was...
We're told he didn't lower his head. And you can see from that replay, Russell does not lower his head.
See, that's the ambiguity of this rule, though. And it's so subjective, crew by crew, week in and week out. To me, that's targeting.
That's targeting, right? Yeah.
That is targeting.
We've seen that called how many times?
Countless
Correction,
times.
it is third down.
And again, subjectivity rules the day. But when you look at the graphic that we put up and you look at, you know, the head and neck area being represented, or it wasn't and, it was or the crown of the helmet. But very fortunate for Memphis on that play to keep J.J. Russell in the game. Again, the strength of this defense is that linebacking core and the 2 active defensive tackles in Joseph Dorcius and O'Brien Goodson.
So instead, it's 3rd and long. And Buechele steps up in the pocket, throws on the run. Robertson, what a deke! First down and more. Down the sideline. Reggie Robertson making another house call.
Anish, what did we just say you cannot do if you are SMU? You cannot give up explosives. Credit Shane Buechele here, navigates the pocket, steps up, yet keeps his eyes downfield and gets the ball out to Robertson, who, number one, makes the first defender miss and then flat out outruns everybody else. What a play by Buechele, and what a great extension by Robertson.
Reggie Robertson going 85 yards. Already took 170. He was injured when these two played last year with game day over on Beale Street. Boy, is he making up for a lost time. He's been unstoppable in this first half.
Well, right now, SMU back in Dallas. Sonny Dykes not happy with that reversal, and he has given the business to the officials. And quite honestly, I don't blame him. I agree with him, but guess what? You know what good football teams do? They forget the last play and they move on to the next one. And Shane Buechele delivers on the very next play on what is, again, another explosive play. 3 for 4, 162 yards just on 3rd down passing alone for the SMU offense.
And Robertson, 3 catches, 182, having himself a monster first half. And the Mustangs did what they wanted. Sonny Dykes told us, against a team that hasn't played in a month, you're going to have a conditioning advantage. He said if we can go fast, get some first downs, put some pressure on them, you wear them down. And 24-3, SMU, every time they've had the ball, has been marching downfield. College football prime time. It's Auburn and Georgia, first top 10 matchup of the season. Georgia struggled a little on offense after losing yet another quarterback against Arkansas.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Bo Nix to Seth Williams, boy, that is becoming a lot of fun to watch.
Well, it is, and I think the more accurate of the two quarterbacks will win this game. I think Bo Nix, he shows flashes, but he's got to be more accurate. And Stetson Bennett's got to utilize the unbelievable weapons that he has around him and just be smart with the football. It's going to be a heck of a football game tonight.
Auburn and Georgia tonight. Pistol look for Memphis. White throwing to the sideline, and it's Coxie as we check in with Chris.
Anish, this Memphis defense could use a little bit of a break here. Starting to lose some cool, some guys getting agitated, throwing chairs. J.J. Russell just came over and said, guys, you need to wake up and calm down.
On 2nd down, Weaver close to the marker. I would imagine this Memphis team, which is accustomed to a lot of success, they won the American Conference last year. They're coming off a 12-win season. They were the best Group of 5 team in the country a year ago.
They had a ton of pride on defense, and right now that pride is bruised, and SMU is averaging 11.3 yards per play.
There's Weaver, and he moves the chains.
Yeah, Chris, you know, I think when she's witnessing some of that stuff on the sideline, that's when your leadership has to come into play. J.J. Russell, as she mentioned, saying, guys, hey, settle down. Let's just play. But really what it comes down to, they're frustrated because they're giving up explosive plays. 70 yards, 85 yards, 40 yards, 35 yards, and that could just be deflating to your unit.
Clark picking up the blitz downfield. Dykes could not bring it in with one hand. And that sort of sums up this first half for Memphis. Just a little bit off, perhaps, Rusty.
Yeah, and I think Dykes here, he was looking to see if he was going to get hit. You saw the short arm late. I think if he maintains the extension, he's still able to catch that ball. He might take the shot, but you know what? You're going to get hit anyway. That's the reality of the situation. Not an ideal throw, but one I don't think you can short arm if you want to have a chance down the middle.
I saw the numbers there, 9 of 17 for Brady White. He led the conference in completion percentage last year. There's Dreek Clark barreling across midfield and finally thrown down by Delano Robinson, but a first down run.
Your plus territory, let's just outline what's in front of them. Your plus territory, you're mounting a nice drive. Say you get 7 points on the board. The clock's dwindling, get your defense some rest. They're going to be okay if they just settle down.
Wide open Coxie, and another red zone try for Memphis. Last time down here, Brady White threw an interception.
This is a really nice, accurate throw. And so far in the first half, Brady White hasn't been his normal accurate self. He's kind of brushing off the rust a little bit. But again, in the red area, they've got to capitalize. Red zone production has not been what it needs to be.
Drake Clark makes a man miss, lowers his head, and he continues to fight for those tough yards, a gain of 11.
If you're Donald Clay, number 21, you're not going to be able to just come duck your head and go at the ankles of Drake Clark. He 200-pounder out of Starkville, Mississippi. He's a physical back. And listen, if I'm Memphis right now, I'm going to run it until they stop us.
White to throw. He's got Coxie, who just can't hold on. Stevens able to knock it away at the last minute.
There's your guy, Anish. And you said it earlier, Brandon Stevens, the former running back, UCLA transfer. He has made a lot of plays on the ball. Now, there was a step there. That's a drop, but he still end up to draw. He's able to pull down the arms once the ball hits Coxie's hands. So this has been a matchup that's been won so far by SMU on defense.
Coxie, one of the top receivers in the league.
So I think Memphis should have run the football there. Capitalize on the momentum that got you downfield.
White throwing. He's got Austin, and the All-American track star takes it in for 6.
Just a well-executed play. You see him look to his left and come underneath on the tunnel screen. And then Austin does what he does in space. He makes the first defender miss, gets into the end zone. And again, 7:16 remaining in the second quarter. Memphis is going to get the ball to start the third quarter. They're in good shape right here. They got to get the defense on the field after they've had some rest and force SMU to earn their drives.
A much-needed touchdown for Memphis. Their first touchdown in 28 days. It's been a while for these Tigers. You got a feel for them. SMU, though, not showing much mercy. Ryan Silverfield, former Memphis O-line coach, promoted to head coach when Mike Norvell took the Florida State job, and Silverfield coached Memphis in the Cotton Bowl. A banner season for the Tigers last year. 12 wins, a school record. They won the American Conference Championship, beating Cincinnati, hosted game day actually with SMU as the opponent in a classic game, and Silverfield's got some big shoes to fill after what Justin Fuente and Mike Norvell did to get this program to become nationally prominent.
But he understands it from the inside out. Been with it for 5 years now, knows exactly what to do to keep this thing going. I don't see them slowing down.
That's the advantage he has, unlike a lot of first-year coaches.
No question.
He's been in the system.
Familiarity, and he knows exactly what he wants out of his football team, and they know what to recruit to, and they have a standard that's already in place.
They're building that over on the hilltop. Shane Buechele showed up last year for SMU, and he was to this Mustang renaissance what Michelangelo was in Florence back in the 16th century. He became the face of the program as a transfer from Texas and SMU, which had tasted the bitter bread of banishment, the death penalty all those years ago. Never really fully recovered. Last year, they were nationally prominent for the first time in more than 30 years. Buechele going downfield. Incomplete for Robertson, and a small victory for Jacoby Francis and Memphis.
Again, that's what you got to do, right? Make them earn it. Make a play in coverage. You get that opportunity. After the last 3 or 4 series, what we've seen this SMU offense do to the Memphis defense, it's been bombs away. And so, again, if you're Memphis, keep the ball in front of you, tackle in space, And don't let SMU make it look easy.
The speedy Gray. And pulled down from behind. Tackle made by Trez Lindsay, third down.
You know, Anish and Shane Buechele's played very well this first half, but SMU has not run the football the way they would have liked to with the regularity or the success. You know, coming into this game, Ulysses Bentley's leading the nation in rushing, averaging over a first down per carry. And in all likelihood, SMU now they're a pass-happy team. If you're Memphis on defense, you know what's coming.
Yeah, Bentley just 7 carries, 9 yards. He's in the backfield. He gets the call. And into the teeth of that defense, it sets up 4th and short from inside the 35-yard line. And I would imagine with a 2-touchdown lead, SMU will punt.
And they should punt. And okay, so now Mike McIntyre's defense for Memphis. You got rested. Your offense put points on the board. You've now gotten a stop, 3 and out. Momentum swinging back to your sideline. You got plenty of time for your offense to go down and score again. Memphis is in actual really good position here, Anish.
And Memphis' strength, where they're as good, if not better, than anybody in the country over the last few years, has been special teams.
Yep.
Calvin Austin, an All-American track star from inside his own 10. Taken down across the 15. The ball came out for a moment, but he's got it. Memphis with the ball and a little bit of momentum. The drive recap brought to you by Goodyear. Memphis looking to build on what they did last time, a 9-play, 75-yard touchdown drive.
Yeah, they had good balance on the ground. They were able to capitalize, get first downs, and then they really did a nice job in the red area, and that's an area they had to improve. Didn't have great red area success in the first quarter, much better, and now they've got momentum back on their side. Plenty of time on the clock. They get the ball coming out of the locker room to start the third quarter as well.
Drake Clark across the 20, tackled by Trevor Denbo. Here's Kevin Connors again.
Taken out by Trevor Denbo. Second down.
If the Aggies pull it off, it would be the first time Nick Saban has lost to one of his former assistants. Here's Austin, who had the lone touchdown grab, and he'll be marked a yard shy of the first down.
Yikes. If he just keeps his feet and can fall forward for a yard, and I like them going up tempo here. Get lined up, get set, run a play.
Tigers 2 of 6 on third down. Clark, he is built for 3rd and short, and advances and keeps the drive alive.
Isaac Ellis. This is a group up front, particularly the left side of that line, getting some push. Last series as well as this series, the run game has been implemented very well for Memphis, and it's creating some opportunities downfield in the passing game. I think SMU feels like we got to add an extra body to the box, even if it's late. We're not holding up with just, 6 in the box, stopping the run.
Kylan Watkins into the secondary and beyond. Washington blocking for Watkins out front, and he is well into SMU territory. You look at what SMU, or rather Memphis, has done successfully these last few years. Yeah, they can throw it around the field with the best of them, but it's a running football team.
The head coach is an offensive line guy. That's going to be the core foundation of their football team. Always has been, always will be. Even going back to Justin Fuente when he was the head coach here, then to Mike Norvell, and now Ryan Silverfield. And they are really having their way on the ground.
Downfield wide open, and a Sean Dykes sighting. Touchdown Memphis.
There he is. Big number 5. Memphis loves having the 2 tight end package. Sometimes they're going to have 2 on the field. Sometimes it's just 1. But all of those tight ends are efficient blockers, but really good receivers. And this is just a seam route down the middle of the field. Ball's got to be completed around 18 to 22 yards. So you get it over the linebacker level and in front of the safety level. That's just a wide open target. Boy, how the pendulum has swung.
It has, and violently. PAT by Patterson, good. Sean Dykes in the opener 9 years ago against Arkansas State had 10 catches for 137 yards, 2 TDs. This after missing most of last season. He is a big part of this offense. The tight end position, as it was the last few years with Joey Magnifico, a big part of this offense. That was his first catch of the game.
Yeah, he hasn't been a big factor to this point, but you know what? The passing game has improved because Brady White's accuracy has improved. The difference in Brady White over the last 7 to 8 minutes and the Brady White we saw in the first quarter and a half has been night and day.
Luke's part of that is because Dykes has been trying to get his conditioning up. He was one of the guys that had to be quarantined for 14 days. I talked to him about it. He said he struggled trying to keep up with the workouts. He'd try and watch film. But again, this was a guy that wanted to be out here so bad because he missed so much of last season, had a great first game, and then had to spend 14 days in his bedroom.
So true, Chris. Just conditioning, not just with Dykes, but the entire Memphis ball club. And so far, they look okay.
Danny Gray tackled near the 20. Kevin Connors. I'll tell you what, that Florida offense, Trask and Kyle Pitts looking scary good.
It's remarkable how many weapons they have. And Kyle Trask has developed into one heck of a steady player at quarterback.
SMU now, after Memphis has put together a couple of big touchdown drives, and that's been the bread and butter. It's been the big play. It's Kylan Granson this time.
Kylan Granson has to catch this up high and on the back shoulder and looking directly into the sun. And credit Shane Buechele, had a lot of pressure in his face when he released this football.
Buechele up over 300 yards passing in just the first half, and slippage that time by Levine. Seen a lot of that from the running backs today.
Well, and we seem to have seen it on the logo, the red pony there in the middle of the field with both teams.
Look at those numbers by Buechele, who came into the game second nationally in passing yards. I know it doesn't mean a whole lot when half the leagues haven't played yet. SMU is one of, just a small number of teams that have played 3 games. Impressive nonetheless, though. Knocked away, broken up by Francis, who's now made a couple of plays when the ball's gone to it, Robertson.
Yeah, he has. That's a very, very dangerous play, and I don't think Shane Buechele is the type of guy that has the natural arm talent to afford to make many risks like that. He's thrown a ball like that earlier. It paid off. It resulted in an 80-yard touchdown, but you don't want to see that repeatedly.
3rd and 12. SMU needs the Memphis 39. Screen. Bentley juggled it. That cost him, and Memphis erases with Thomas Pickens. The Tigers are going to get the ball back and might have a chance to tie this game before halftime.
What a reversal of fortune. We talk about Memphis on defense. Mike McIntyre's squad, make them earn it. Keep the ball in front of you. Come up and tackle. All right, they do it on back-to-back series. And to your point, Anish, you're going to get the ball back on offense. Momentum's on your sideline. But guess what Memphis hasn't done? They haven't had any live 2-minute drill. This is their first time in a month. Let's see how crisp they are when the offense takes the field.
SMU content to run some clock. Memphis electing not to use a timeout.
Prior to the snap, delay, offense, 5-yard penalty. It is still 4th down.
So SMU purposely taking the delay, running off as much clock as possible, and now Nagar will kick it away. His last punt traveled 58 yards.
Sonny Dykes not happy with the Zebras today thus far.
He's got friends in the American Conference who share the sentiment. Austin from the 5. And tackled at the 11-yard line. Big day of sports on ESPN. You got Auburn, Georgia tonight, 7:30 Eastern, followed by UFC Fight Night from Abu Dhabi tomorrow. Game 3 of the NBA Finals, Monday Night Football. Falcons will try not to blow a fourth-quarter lead against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. By the way, how good does Aaron Rodgers look this season?
He looks like he's been drinking from the fountain of youth. Drafting Jordan Love was the best thing to happen to Aaron Rodgers.
Which also makes you think, imagine if they gave him, I don't know, a receiver?
Let me tell you something. Quarterbacks trump receivers every day of the week.
Memphis with all 3 timeouts. Less than 90 seconds to go in this first half. Tigers trail 24-3. And there is Coxie, who gets out of bounds to stop the clock with 1:22.
Smart play call. You've got out-breaking routes, so you're throwing the ball towards the sideline to be able to not only get a completion, but get the clock stopped.
5 catches now for Coxie. He's been targeted 11 times. Clean pocket. Over the middle, broken up. Crossley, who's got a pick in this game, intended for Austin. It felt like it took Memphis about a quarter and a half to get its game legs back.
Yeah, and they settled in on defense again, not giving up the explosive plays, and then sustaining drives with great balance and some explosive plays of their own.
Memphis does receive to begin the second half. Clark tackled near the numbers. It'll momentarily stop the clock. It's a first down for Memphis. 1:13 to go.
See, I think this change in the rule a couple of years ago where that clock stops just for that brief second is such an advantage for the offense if you're dialed in with your 2-minute unit.
Coxie on the slant, and DeMonte Coxie. And Memphis will use a timeout. He's close to the first down.
Memphis takes their first charge time out of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
There just seems to be more fluidity in this offense right now.
A lot more efficient. I think the execution is starting to develop. And the one thing we haven't seen the procedure penalties. We haven't seen the sloppiness from Memphis on offense that we saw in the first quarter and a half.
Ryan Silverfield emphasized to us that his team needs to own their base fundamentals. He said this is a game where it is a lot about conditioning, almost more so than X's and O's.
But what are those? They're blocking, they're tackling, they're the penalties that you can control. Those are your base fundamentals. You know, pitch and catch, securing the football. Those things, I think if you do those well, maybe you can overcome a niche, a mistake here or a mistake there, if the base fundamentals are where you want them to be. And that's been the focus for the last 3.5 weeks, last 28 days since Memphis has played a football game.
Certainly it helps to have a veteran at quarterback. The 6th-year senior Brady White began his career at Arizona State. And I don't know what that was, but it's incomplete. It's 3rd and 2, 51 seconds left.
I think Brady White thought Coxie was going to break on an in-cutting route, maybe a skinny post, and there was a miscommunication there. Because that's, yeah, you see Coxie right there acknowledging that that was his bad, my bad. Doesn't kill you though, you're 3rd and 2, the clock stops, you don't have to waste a timeout. But again, a communication error for a team that hasn't been on the field very much in practice.
On 3rd down, and that is caught near midfield. It's Coxie again, who's finding ways to get open. One of the top receivers in the American.
Looked like he was throwing it to Calvin Austin in the slot. Number 4 goes right over Austin's head. Coxie makes the play, looks back just at the last moment. Nice completion, line to gain.
Downfield, intercepted, Denbo. And now SMU with 2 timeouts might have a chance to get some points before halftime.
Kevin Kane, the defensive coordinator for SMU, starting to get a beat on these seam routes. You see Brady White look left, and now he doesn't see the middle linebacker drop. Trevor Denbo drops from his middle linebacker spot deep into the middle of the field where he thinks he's got Dykes running down, and he did have him on the previous series. It resulted in a touchdown. Nice adjustment by SMU defensively.
All right, pop the bottle. Club takeaway.
Club takeaway.
I wish we could have a camera on Tom Luganbill's face anytime that there is a turnover prop. Wide open Reggie Robertson. And you can see some of the confetti spilling out onto the field. The ball is out. Memphis says they have it, and they do.
Oh, boy.
Now put the cork back in the bottle.
Somebody vacuum up that confetti. Get it off the field.
Ruling on the field is a catch and a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Memphis.
Recovered by Quindale Johnson, the safety.
See Reggie Robertson, who's had a monster first half, and just gets this ball taken away from him.
Now that ball looks to be out before the knee hits the ground.
Johnson, number 15, not only strips, but also recovers. What a tremendous football play, huh? Go out and make a play, kid.
Reggie Robertson, 200 receiving yards in this first half, but we talk about momentum swings. SMU got a little back with the Denbo interception. Now you give it right back, and with these teams that play so fast, got the turnover belt there for Memphis, inspired by the great
Jerry Lawler,
the king.
Love it.
He was the guest picker when Memphis hosted game day last year. 2 timeouts left. Wild finish to this first half. White on the run. He's got a first down and gets out of bounds. And remember, Memphis has a very good kicker in Riley Patterson, who's reliable from well over 50.
And such a very smart play by the heady senior and Brady White there. He's running, he's moving, he's trying to buy a second passing chance. And the safest option is his legs.
For injured player.
Injury timeout.
They've got to take it.
Patterson, the Memphis kicker last year, was 5 of 6 from beyond 50.
Whoa. Big leg time.
Quindale Johnson with the belt. Mike McIntyre, the defensive coordinator for Memphis, former Colorado head coach, was telling us that he was a big Jerry Lawler fan growing up in Tennessee, and one day decided, hey, we need a turnover prop. How about the turnover belt? And nothing more fitting for Memphis.
Oh, I wish y'all could see Anish Shroff right now, because he's wearing that exact same outfit here in our booth. You see Mike McIntyre there. He's got to feel pretty good about his defensive performance to this point outside of the explosives. He's been a long-time successful, not only head coach, but defensive quarterback going back, defensive coordinator going back decades. If I'm Memphis and I'm Ryan Silverfield, this is probably where I'm the most nervous. You might have to run your kicking unit onto the field. You might have the clock run.
Danny Gray, he's got great speed. And driven out by Johnson, it sets up another third down. SMU had a drive early in the first quarter stall. Here in the red zone, they had to settle for 3.
Yeah, and they're making a personnel change. One of the things SMU does like to do is they like to get into 2 tight end formations. You know, they have a bit of a spread reputation. This time they're going to spread you out, actually, and go with a bunch trio set near the top of the screen.
Buechele under pressure. Gets away, gets rid of it, nearly intercepted. Did Robertson catch it? No, incomplete. 4th down.
Timeout for injured player.
And listen, I credit Shane Buechele for trying to keep this thing alive, but he's got to be awfully careful. Understand, you're in the red area here. You can't make a critical error. Should have been intercepted on the tip, like they would have been a great effort, but
timeout on the field.
Impressed with Memphis's ability to shut down
injured
in the red
SMU
area here
player.
as this SMU offense faces 4th down.
You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Memphis and SMU were 2 of 5 teams that won 10 or more games in this league last year, both in the mix for a conference championship this year. So a key game that could determine a lot. No division format in the conference. Chris Nagar on 4th down and 6 drills the field goal from 25 yards. He is now a perfect 6 of 6 on the season, 2 for 2 today. Tonight in prime time on ESPN, the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Also our first top 10 matchup of the season as Auburn visits Georgia between the hedges.
Yeah, listen, I think everybody's looking forward to this one, most notably because they want to see what is Georgia going to put on the field offensively, and will we see a continuation of what was some pretty positive momentum in the second half. But this duel right here, if you had the opportunity to watch Auburn versus Kentucky and see the plays that Seth Williams made a week ago, I mean, difference maker type plays that are extraordinary. It's going to be a fun one tonight.
All Bo Nix has to do is throw the ball up in his direction. Now Chris Nagar puts that one into the end zone. Memphis will run it out. Gabriel Rogers, and he chose poorly. Memphis last year beat SMU largely on the strength of its special teams, and Nagar, with his ability to kick it into the end zone and beyond, is a weapon, and you almost sense Memphis getting a little antsy there. Hey, let's see if we can take this one.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and you're right. And listen, if this thing keeps going the direction it's going, the kicking game is going to have an impact here in the second half. And I think it's really important for that Memphis defense to limit SMU to 3 on that last drive, because Memphis did not come out with the same momentum to start the third quarter that they went into the locker room with. They've got to get back on track here and sustain a drive.
Kylan Watkins, the running back, to start this drive. White moving the pocket, throws on the run, low throw. Sideline says Austin caught it. He did. 4th catch for Calvin Austin, an All-American track star at Memphis, who has really improved his route running. Watkins meets a sea of blue after a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, the difference between Watkins and Clark is Watkins is a space guy. He's a perimeter guy. Clark's going to be a bit more of your inside pounder, lower the shoulder when he gets in traffic. I was a little bit surprised at the running back substitution there. But again, running the football, throwing it, a nice blend of balance. And you look at the numbers, the rush yards on the ground, Memphis has the edge today.
Balance offensively has been a big part of Memphis's blueprint. There's Watkins in space. And he's going to be a couple of yards shy of the marker. Harrison Lovelace with the stop.
No,
3rd down.
Sorry, Anish. For the most part, this Memphis offense has been in 3rd and manageable. They've had a lot at their disposal in their playbook because they've been good on 1st and 2nd down.
Watkins one more time. Does he get the push? This will depend on the spot.
Kylan Watkins, ball carrier.
Now, we don't have any word that Drake Clark, their starting tailback, is down or injured, but you'd think on some of these short yardage situations, that's who they would have gone with on this drive. Instead, it's been Watkins, who's been a little bit more their space guy.
And Watkins did pick up the 1st down. Asa Martin now into the game. Actually, it is Drake Clark, so he's back in. And Clark just finishes his runs with a little more oomph.
He's falling forward. If you ever notice that, the shoulders are always falling forward, and then all of a sudden, you know, you got an extra half yard, an extra yard. But a nice drive mounting here in the 3rd quarter so far for Memphis.
Clark last year buried on the running back depth chart, even with Kenneth Gainwell's decision to opt out. He thought about transferring in the offseason, maybe going back home, decided to stick it out, and he has become a bell cow in running the football for Ryan Silverfield. 100 yards in the opener, now up over 70 yards today.
There's a difference in physicality with Clark, and I'm riding this guy. If I'm riding Silverfield, if I'm Kevin Johns, the offensive coordinator, let's see how far this guy can take you.
There's Clark again. He's got another first down. Kenny Gainwell, who last year was the Rookie of the Year in the American, opted out for a good reason. He lost 4 family members to COVID.
Yep.
But what Memphis loses is maybe the best all-around skill player in college football. This is a guy who, against Tulane last year, 200 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing, something that hadn't been done since Latex Troy Edwards back in '97.
That's a long way back. Look at you going into the archives.
And there is Watkins.
Watkins on the run.
Gainwell, of course, could come back next year, but the reports have been out there that he wants to get ready for the draft. He would be draft eligible. You're talking about somebody that would have been in the conversation for League Player of the Year as a sophomore.
Yes. And I think the one thing, you see the number 5 running back prospect there by our Todd McShay, is he has those gifts out of the backfield in the passing game that really scare defensive coordinators. You got to be aware of where he is at all times.
Mike Norvell told me last year he would be your top receiver as Watkins makes the catch in space. Third down coming up. And they're looking at Watkins not to be Kenneth Gainwell. That's not fair. But he is going to have to take on that hybrid role and be a pass catcher.
Yeah, and I think what really Memphis is going to morph into is getting Watkins and Drake Clark on the field at the same time. So you've got to respect the running possibilities inside and then the perimeter stuff with Watkins on the outside.
Could be 4-down territory here for Memphis. White stepping up, looking for Dykes, the tight end, and a first down at the 29. Sean Dykes, good bloodlines. Dad Billy played at Oklahoma. Uncle Hartley Dykes with Oklahoma State and the Patriots.
Oh, was he a great one, right?
Brady White in trouble. Has Sean Dykes again. He was quiet for most of the first half. Had a touchdown catch late and now getting open for Brady White.
Credit Dykes on the catches. Credit Brady White on extending the play, keeping things alive, and at the same time, keeping his eyes downfield as we've got an injured player for SMU on defense.
Timeout for injured player. Timeout on the field.
We'll step aside. 4:13 to go. Memphis on the move.
He's a bad man.
Touchdown, Atlanta.
He's off to the races. Aaron Jones.
Third quarter back here in Dallas. Memphis on the move. Take a look right here. Elijah Chapman, the defensive tackle. Now, when you're dealing with momentum, when you're dealing with pace, look at him. Oh, boy. Now, all of a sudden, we got to slow things down. Let's keep an eye on number 40, see if he comes back on the field after this play.
You never want to speculate. But that was video evidence.
Indisputable video evidence.
Our viewers at home certainly are free to speculate all they want. Ivory in motion. Clark lowers his head, and he's to the 4, 2nd and goal. Late flag.
I think they're going to get Clark for the shove as he was getting off the ground. Didn't like how the SMU defender landed on top of him. Either was something that was said or little friskiness.
We've had 9 penalties so far. When these teams played last year, 27 penalties in the game.
Yeah, and listen, Memphis, up until this point, had some penalties early that you could expect, but then really cleaned things up.
There is no foul for a chop block on the play. It is second down.
Oh, interesting. Looks like things were getting a little testy there with Clark.
Elijah Chapman still on the sideline for SMU. 2nd and goal. Martin and Clark in the backfield. Ivory motions. Asa Martin did not even get back to the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd down. And there is Richard McBride again. Boy, he's been everywhere today.
He has, and this SMU defense is coming up big. There's Chapman not being attended to on the sideline, the big defensive lineman, but not here on a 3rd and goal, 3rd and short situation. You know, the big playmaker on this drive in the passing game has been Sean Dykes, the big tight end. You're going to see him actually not in the game right now from a personnel perspective, but you've got the trips look here down at the bottom and the single to the top.
Coxie up top. White back in the end zone. Touchdown, Taj Washington. The first touchdown of his career.
Redshirt freshman coming up big out of that tight bunch look to the right. Brady White looks like he's going to go up top for the fade route and comes right back and throws a dart, threading the needle over the middle. And Memphis right back on track. 14-play drive and momentum back on the sideline.
Patterson ties the game at 27. SMU led this one 24-3 at one point. It has been all Memphis since then. This season, for every field goal and extra points made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. We've got a brand new football game. It has been Memphis on a 24-3 run after SMU opened the game with a 24-3 lead. All tied at 27, 2:53 to go in this 3rd quarter. And Shroff, Tom Luganbill from our Charlotte studios. Chris Budden down on the field in Dallas. And this is Jackson. And he is tackled shy of the 10 as we check in with Chris.
Guys, Ryan Silverfield told us his biggest concern today was the conditioning, and you're starting to see that come into effect with the Memphis defense. Safety Tyrus Lindsey has already gone into the locker room after having some cold packs and some ice baths put on him. And also Morris Joseph, the defensive lineman, missed some couple of snaps in that last series because he couldn't catch his breath, was having trouble on the sidelines getting back into it.
First game in 28 days for Memphis. You wonder when conditioning really becomes a factor in this game. Bouchel taking a shot downfield. Who else? Robertson. And he is holding that left knee. He was one cut away from breaking it, and that does not look good.
Timeout for injured player.
He was hurt last year?
This is such a shame, given his injury history, what he's gone through, Anish, to get back on the field. You see Shane Bouchel and the training staff there for SMU just getting everybody to back away, give him some air. But this young man has been a star today for this offense. And yet another vertical play and an unfortunate turf injury. It's really just on the cut. Oh.
He looked like he was about to take off on the cut, and the knee gave out. You mentioned his history. He's battled injuries the last 2 years.
Yep.
He didn't play in this game last year because he was hurt. Had a season-ending foot injury the season before and was having one of the best games of his career today. 5 catches, 243 yards. Had a touchdown of 70 yards and 85 yards. And you hope that young man is okay. Big part of the vertical passing game for SMU, and a senior.
Well, he has been able to at least have a step, which is what he had here on SMU defense, on Memphis defensively. And if he doesn't have this happen to him. He cuts back and he's still extending the play.
Two big injuries for SMU today. Starting running back TJ McDaniel injured his left leg on the first play of the game. You see Shane Buechele shaking his head, and now you lose your top receiver and Reggie Robertson. Buechele completes to Austin Upshaw, converted quarterback.
No, going back to what Chris had said in relationship to the conditioning, and what really tests your conditioning, if you're giving up big explosive plays, you're running a lot, you're chasing a lot, and then all of a sudden, and she referenced the defensive front getting winded for Memphis. This tests your depth. As a group of 5 program, the players that you rotate in there may not be as game ready as your starters when you got to take them off the field.
Tyler Page devoured by Jacoby Francis. It's third down for SMU.
By the look of the last 2 plays, Anish, that injury to Reggie Robertson has kind of taken the wind out of the sail for SMU here on offense.
Buechele pumps, steps up, he'll take off, and he's got a first down. Tackled by Rodney Owens. Buechele has done it all today. Almost 380 yards through the air, another 37 on the ground.
Smart, heady play by a veteran guy. He doesn't like what he sees, works through the progressions. Nobody in the middle of the field, take off and run.
Dad Steve, of course, an 11-year big leaguer, played for the Cubs. Actually was college roommates with John Elway at Stanford. Miscommunication looking for Gray, and it looked like Danny Gray was saying that was on me.
Yeah, Shane Buechele was expecting just a little 5 to 6 yard hitch. He threw it out there. Looked like Gray was broken inside on the slant. And again, it's like you see Gray up top. The ball's thrown to where he's expecting the hitch route right there. Seemed to try to wave off the quarterback, but he also didn't look like he was intending to receive the football.
Movement along that offensive line for SMU.
False start. Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
That is Alon Ali. Now they're bringing out the cart for Reggie Robertson, and you hope it's not something serious and he can come back for SMU at some point this season. Tyler Page, the senior, and it brings up third down.
Tackled by Quinnell Johnson.
Now, what kind of loss is this to this offense, Luke's?
Right now it looks significant because it's completely burst their bubble, and it's going to affect their downfield passing game. I mean, this is a guy that you've got to fear on defense and be aware of vertically, and so when SMU breaks the huddle and you don't see number 8 out there, defensively you feel a lot better about your game plan.
Kylan Granson, the tight end. I'll tell you what, last year when Reggie Robertson got hurt, 2 players stepped up. One was Granson, who played well down the stretch. The other, then a true freshman, now a sophomore, Rashee Rice.
Correct, and that was a really well executed crossing route. Just zone defense. Memphis decided to drop 8, and Shane Buechele just doing what he does, playing pitch and catch. Granson's so reliable, as you referenced.
Third quarter comes to an end. Memphis down by 21 at one point, has pulled to even. SMU driving, but without 2 key players now.
At the end of the third quarter,
tied at 27 entering the fourth quarter. SMU, though, down 2 significant pieces. Starting running back TJ McDaniel injured his left leg on the very first play. He is out for the game. And then moments ago, late in the third quarter, Reggie Robertson, the team's top wide receiver, you saw him holding that knee, non-contact injury. He was carted off. How does that change the dynamic for SMU? We'll find out here in this fourth quarter. We'll check in with Chris Budden for an update after this play Steve Buechele finds Rashee Rice, who dropped it. Chris?
Pass the ball.
Yeah, Robertson was able to put a little bit of weight on his leg before he hopped onto the car, but after he put the towel on his head, you could see him sobbing under there. His family was notified. They were able to come down from the stands and went back with them into the tunnel.
Now, at the time of that injury, Chris, 243 receiving yards. That's half of the offensive output for SMU on the day, with still a quarter to go.
Rice holds on to this one. Lost the football. Who's got it? Line judge trying to get at the bottom of that pile. Memphis with the turnover.
Boy, things just going from bad to worse. Rashee Rice, the drop on the previous play, then you're letting the ball get away from your body. You're asking for trouble, and actually comes out prior to contact. He's fumbling the ball before he even gets hit. And now it's just a mad scramble. Who's got strength and who's got the ability to pull that ball away at the bottom of the pile? What a huge, huge swing in momentum. Memphis makes a play. SMU falling apart after the injury to Reggie Robertson.
Now Memphis with the football and a chance to take the lead for the first time today. They'll start inside their own 20. Drake Clark gets past McBride, bouncing to the outside, and finishes his run with some authority. Brian Massey got the brunt of that. Clark closing in on 100 yards rushing.
He's kind of different, isn't he? There's just something that's different about him in this offense when he's involved in the run game. And again, I'd keep riding that horse. If I'm Kevin Johns, the offensive coordinator at Memphis in the run game.
Now they follow that formula, and he picks up a couple. Let's check in with Kevin in the studio.
Taken down by Delano Robinson. Second down, Memphis.
It was 14-14 at one point.
Right, at one point. Gee, Jalen Waddle, an 80-yard touchdown. Who would have thunk it?
Austin motion, 2nd and 8. Kylan Watkins now. 3rd down coming up for Memphis, and now a big play for this SMU defense as well, which has lost all the momentum in this game.
Yeah, they've lost the momentum, and they've lost it. See a little, guys, a couple of chums there. Whoa! Along the sideline. It's just a little friendly neighborhood scrap.
Damonte Coxie, he's the hype man for this Memphis football team. Big jokester. There's the blitz on 3rd and 6. White completes to Austin. 1st down across midfield and into Mustang territory.
That's where a veteran quarterback that understands protection, understands pressure, and where to go with the ball in the face of pressure becomes so critical late in games when you're tied up, you're tight, and now you're trying to sustain a drive. You have a critical 3rd down. Brady White deserves all the credit in the world for brushing off the rust, and it was a rusty first quarter for him, Anish, and he has been really, really sharp ever since then.
Watkins met by McBride, who slowed him up, and then finished off by his teammates, including Donald Clay.
I just don't know, Anish, if he's the right type of back for what they need their running game to be right now. They've got push in the inside run game. You've got a guy that's going to lower his shoulder and push the pile with Drake Clark. And Watkins is a different type of back than that. And I just don't know if the situation calls for his style.
He lost 5, so 2nd and 15 now. Pressure coming again. And how about Coxie? Sets up third and a very manageable for Memphis.
And I go back to what I said when we were in the early portion of the third quarter. Memphis has done a remarkable job today of being a constant third and manageable, constant third and short. It just opens up the playbook.
And they've been pretty good, 10 of 15 on third downs.
Pretty
5
good.
of 6 in the second half.
Fantastic.
Toss to Clark. Who else but Richard McBride? Boy, he has been the defensive MVP for SMU today, and it's fourth down.
You're not going to chip block McBride at the point of attack. It's going to take a little bit more than that. McBride did a great job leveraging the football here, and then upon contact at the point of attack, bursts through to make the tackle. Bit of a dicey play right there. You know, they've been really good with the counter, really good with the buck sweep.
Now remember in the opener, they pulled a fake punt against Arkansas State. I don't know if Ryan Silverfield's going to do that here, but it was Joseph Dorcius, 94, the up back, who took it and ran 25 yards. And we get a whistle before the snap.
Prior to the snap, delay, offense, 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
Well, they're not faking it, but
That'd be
again,
a bold move, Cotton.
If you were going to, this is the area of the field that you normally see it happen.
And again, you got to look at the clock. There's a lot of time here, and you don't want to do something like that, have it backfire, and it takes the wind out of your sail. Right now, this is about field position for your defense if you're Ryan Silverfield, the Memphis coaching staff.
Adam Williams. TQ Jackson lets it bounce and into the end zone for a touchback. Tied at 27. Richard McBride paying some rent in the backfield on a Saturday afternoon in Dallas. ESPN College Football is presented by Sling TV. 3-0 SMU tied with number 25 Memphis. The Tigers, the defending conference champions in the American. Remember SMU when they played Memphis last year? At the time, the Mustangs were 8-0, off to one of their best starts in a long time. Lost the game, still won 10 games last year for the first time since 1984. Nationally relevant in the AP poll. Win here today, they can make a big statement. And that's incomplete, intended for Granson, covered by Quindale Johnson. And you miss Reggie Robertson there in the vertical game.
Well, you do, and that time, Shane Buechele was a little off sync, drifted to his left. He didn't have his feet underneath him, and you could see the ball kind of dying on him downfield. But you're right, and listen, it changes the mentality of your offense. What's your approach now in the passing game? Is it to dink and dunk? Is it short intermediate stuff? Because I don't believe that Memphis looks at their offense the same way now.
Their best drives today have relied on the big play.
And right there, that just pitch and catch, Memphis will take that all day as long as you make the tackle. You can't have that turn into a 70-yard gain. But again, and you actually referenced it in a break a few series ago, the shift in philosophy now in the passing game for SMU, what type of impact that will have.
You said Memphis would take that, a 6-yard pass to Upshaw. Will SMU be complacent with that?
Well, can they do it consistently and execute for the length of the field? They haven't had to have a ton of long drives tonight.
Now, so far, moving the chains, Tyler Page, 3.9 GPA in finance, also good for a first down.
It takes patience, execution, precision to go the length of the field offensively. A lot of teams can't do it. That's why you hear coaches talk all the time on defense. Just make them earn it. Keep the ball in front of you. Sooner or later, they'll screw it up.
Page, a yard. A guy who's been quiet in the second half for SMU, Danny Gray. He's got a ton of speed.
Yep.
Highly coveted junior college transfer. We saw him used in a variety of ways in the first half. They haven't gone to him much in the second half.
Well, and again, it's interesting that they haven't maybe shuffled him around to put him in the spot to be the vertical guy.
Meanwhile, Bentley, who came in leading the nation in rushing yards, has not been able to get out of neutral today. O'Brien Goodson with the tackle. It's third down.
And again, there's that little stem winder, 6'1" on a good day, about 295 pounds. SMU struggles with the short, quick, explosive leverage player up front, and it showed up today in the run game.
Mustangs 7 of 12 on third down, make it 7 of 13. Joseph Dorcius into the backfield for the sack, and Nagar will have to punt it away. O'Brien Goodson there as well.
You know, this can't happen on a three-man rush, but Shane Buechele's holding on to the football a little bit. Doesn't get the ball out of his hands. And again, that is a very active Mike McIntyre, the defensive coordinator, said they're not very big, but they are like gnats.
Fair catch called for and made by Calvin Austin. Memphis, another chance to take its first lead when we come back. Boy, Mike Norvell inherited something, didn't he?
No.
Oh, boy.
Well, right.
We've got more football coming our way in 3 weeks. The Big Ten is back. So is the Mountain West. Maction back on the 4th of November. And then the Pac-12 today. If you were watching Game Day, you saw the Pac-12 schedule release. That is pretty much everybody.
That's everybody.
Well, except for UConn.
A condensed version of everybody. I just hope everybody has an opportunity with the parameters set forth by the varying conferences to be able to play week in and week out. That's my sincere hope. It's my hope for the players, coaches, administrators, and the fans.
We've had a good one today over in Dallas. 27-27. Memphis was down 24-3 at one point. They've rallied back. They've never led. Tigers with the ball, and Brady White is sacked, and all of a sudden this second half has turned into a defensive game.
It really has, and you've had struggles to some degree on some early downs, either negative plays or 2nd and 10 coming up. Memphis, I mentioned earlier, done such a good job of getting in 3rd and short, but that's not a good way to start off this series when you lost at 3.
Sean Dykes, the big tight end, in the slot. On the ground, and Watkins tripped up and sets up 3rd and long. Memphis over 200 yards rushing today. It's been a pass-heavy approach for SMU. Four-man pressure. White eluding the pursuit, nowhere to go, and he goes down. Flag down.
Holding offense number 75. That penalty is declined. It is 4th down.
You're going to see down at the bottom of your screen, and really you get at the bottom and the top, number 96 on number 75, Matt Dale. And you get your hands on the outside and you start seeing cloth come away, you're going to get the call.
Adam Williams, a 3-year starter, to punt it away. And TQ Jackson, recently declared eligible, the transfer from Arkansas, to return for SMU. Fair catch made at the 15-yard line. That's where SMU takes over.
ESPN College Football is presented by Sling TV, the smart choice for live TV.
Mask up, giddy up, pony up. Shane Buechele looking to lead his team. SMU 3-0 in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 83-84, and looking to extend that win streak, but they have not done much offensively since the first quarter. Buechele will take a shot. He wants Granson. It's behind him. 2nd and 10. Down to Chris.
Anish, you could sense after that Reggie Robertson injury that the momentum, the energy on the SMU sidelines start to go down. Just before they came out on the field, Shane Buechele went up to every single one of the guys on his offense, gave them a fist bump, trying to get them going, giving each of them a pep talk, which he's not usually a rah-rah kind of leader.
Yeah, the Robertson injury, huge. The McDaniel injury was big early. This is Bentley, who just hasn't had much running room today, and he steps out of bounds. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 8.
Yeah, I think the Memphis defensive front has done a good job. Chris referenced earlier in the second half that, you know, they're having to substitute, rotate some guys. They are a bit winded, but they have held up to this point. But Shane Buechele through the air, just 37 yards since the injury to Robertson. So you've completely eliminated the explosive downfield play that SMU was hanging their hat on for, what, 3.5 quarters now.
And SMU hasn't shown the ability to consistently take the small yard plays to move down the field.
Right, they haven't turned the short catch.
SMU holds their first charge time out of the half
into a 70-yard gain.
Timeout, Sonny Dykes. 5:20 to go in regulation.
This is a 30-second timeout.
3rd and 7 for SMU. Tonight, Georgia and Auburn on ESPN, the Deep South's oldest rivalry, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Bo Nix, Seth Williams, Stetson Bennett IV is now the quarterback at the University of Georgia.
Well, listen, if he can pick up where they left off in the second half on the road in Fayetteville a week ago, with that defense, then they're going to have a heck of a shot. And I think that Bo Nix needs to continue to grow with his accuracy, and that offensive line for Auburn needs to grow as well.
3rd and 7 now for SMU. Who are you looking to if you're Shane Buechele?
I think you got to try and get Donald Gray involved in the pass game. He's your most explosive, fast target with Robertson no longer in the game.
Buechele toward the sideline. It's Rashee Rice. 1st down, Mustangs.
Good heading play there by Buechele, just buying just a little bit of time and taking what the defense gives him. And Rice, you know, having to make up for an awful lot. A dropped pass, a fumble in the red zone. So good to see him get back on the track with a catch and move the chains.
Those were back-to-back plays.
Yep.
Levine. Strong run, and he can give you a little of what you don't have without TJ McDaniel.
Yeah, they're very similar in regards to the style of runner. And now that was just your pure outside zone, and Levine doing a good job of identifying the cutback lane, getting north and south. Good steady run there on 1st down.
McIntyre, the tight end, motions. Levine again, stumbling, bumbling, and he's got a 1st down. Not a lot of finesse to his game.
No, what you see is what you get, but you're also going to see a lead hammer upon contact, and he's going to fall forward. It's exactly what SMU needed. That's a confidence builder for this offensive line.
Memphis wasn't ready. We get a whistle.
I was just going to say they're going to catch Memphis off guard
Previous play resulted in a 1st down. Clock will start on my signal.
Ooh. Memphis got away with one there on defense. They were not ready to play. They weren't lined up. O'Brien Goodson, number 1, the defensive tackle's looking to the sideline, and that man right there, Shane Buechele, was ready to snap the ball and go.
SMU thought its biggest advantage in this game would be conditioning. Memphis hadn't played in almost a month prior to today, and now we're at that juncture of the game where all those conditioning advantages are heightened. intercepted. Quindell Johnson, did he hang on to it? Incomplete. It looked like Quindell Johnson may have had a game-changing interception.
Tommy McIntyre is the tight end, and Quindell Johnson just makes a remarkable play on the football. He doesn't have his left arm to be able to secure the ball going to the ground. McIntyre does a nice job. Look at him on the left arm, and that's what prevents the completion of the catch. But what a tremendous play in coverage by 15 Johnson for Memphis on defense.
Incomplete for Rice. And now it's 3rd and 10.
The last time that SMU had 3rd and long, Memphis decided to rush 3, drop 8, and the middle of the field was open for Shane Buechele to run the football. Let's keep an eye out on that. I don't think that Memphis on defense wants to give Shane Buechele and this SMU offense many one-on-one opportunities in the passing game on this particular down.
Look at what Buechele has done on 3rd down today. 425 yards passing overall. Buechele standing in, now rolls out. Chased, hit, and it's incomplete. That ball hung in the air forever. And Buechele helped up by his teammates. It's 4th down. Nagar will have to punt it away.
Buechele took a shot on the sideline, and hot pursuit was the Memphis defense. Buechele had some time. Memphis loses some contain. Buechele gets out of the pocket, but just not enough power on that throw when you're rolling to your right. And a fire-breathing dragon's running down your neck.
Fair catch made at the 24 by Calvin Austin. Memphis ball tied at 27. It's today playing its first game since the season opener against Arkansas State 28 days ago. In the interim, at one point they went 11 days without practice. For 5 days, players could not even enter the facilities and go into the building. 2 games postponed and canceled. Now here they are, late stages against SMU, a chance to win the game with the ball, 3:14 to go. As much as you can practice and simulate and try to recreate live conditions, can't simulate this, can you?
You can't, and I think if you're Ryan Silverfield, you're tickled to death that your football team's in this position, but you're also worried to death because now it's about clock management, area of the field management. It's about timeout usage and all those things on a Thursday and Friday that you spend so much time. Keep in mind, they didn't have, you can sit there and say, okay, well, they finally got on the field to practice, but they didn't have live 11 on 11. They didn't have close proximity to one another. This is it. This is a simulation and practicing in a meeting room, and all of a sudden you're taking the field after 28 days and you've got yourself in a position to win. Let's see how the senior-led program with Brady White at quarterback handles this moment.
The 6th-year senior, one of the highest-rated quarterback recruits in a ballyhooed class. SMU bringing some heat on 1st down. White all over it, throws and completes. It's Sean Dykes, the tight end. Sets up 2nd down.
Anish, these are those moments where you love what Brady White brings to the table because he runs the offense anyway. Whether it was the 1st quarter or the 4th quarter, once he gets that call, all of the decisions for the offense that are made going forward are all made by him. There's no looking back to the sideline.
And a lot of it you don't see, like when he gets his team into run checks, which he might be doing right here. Downfield, Austin holds on.
First off, a spectacular display of ball skills and effort and focus by Austin. Secondly, if Brady White could have that back, he would have put a little bit more air under it, and he has a walk-away touchdown. Nonetheless, a completion, one of the first explosive plays we've seen of the 4th quarter by any team, and now you've got yourself in great position, plenty of time on the clock, 3 timeouts left.
Austin having a career day And now Memphis almost in field goal range. Their kicker hit from 56 today. Clark stumbling and driven back by Delano Robinson, SMU's leading tackler.
We spoke so much in the first half about, each team making the other offense earn it. That's all we've seen in the fourth quarter so far between these two teams. It's been tough sledding, very few explosive plays. It's been tough to run the ball. But if you're Memphis, you like your chances in your field position right now, because that man right there, Riley Patterson, hit a 55-yarder. We think he's good from 60.
6 field goals from 50+ for his career. Now 7 if you count today. White lost the football, and SMU able to recover. It looked like 33 junior Aho knocked it away.
I think you're right, Anish. That's why you got to be so careful with the football in the pocket. The ball gets low and away, and Aho is able to strip within the pocket. You see Brady White has that ball down low by his waist. It's a big no-no. You're asking for trouble, and that time Memphis got into some. Bottle service in the fourth quarter for SMU on the sideline with a chance to win it offensively.
Club takeaway popping for SMU, and Memphis with a huge missed opportunity. Shane Buechele and company with the ball at the 41. Ulysses Bentley in space. And when you give him just a little bit of room, he can do that.
Doesn't take much. And see, cutting that ball back inside, you're okay. You still got 2 timeouts left. I know he didn't get to the sideline, but that was a big gain, and they're in hurry-up mode.
Upshaw with the catch and tackled immediately at the 40.
Well, it's a really good tackle by Memphis defensively right there.
John Broussard, grad transfer out of Auburn. Clock continues to run. Mustangs have the 2 timeouts. Screen to Page. He's out of bounds, close to the sticks, a yard shy. And now 3rd and 1. You can bring in Levine here. A run is still on the table.
There's no question. And by getting out of bounds by Page there, you've done a great job preserving timeouts. You're under a minute. You've got the kicking game to consider here.
Oh, that was
please reset the game clock to 45 seconds. 45 seconds on the game clock, please.
One area where SMU was just horrific last year, and they've upgraded big time, the kicking game with Chris Nagar.
You still got Ulysses Bentley in the backfield here. See if they decide to use him in the passing game and not run it.
It is Bentley.
There he goes.
He's got the edge. He's got a first down, but hang on, a flag.
Holding. Offense number 71. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That is the all-conference left tackle, Jalen Thomas.
Correction. 3rd down.
And that is huge.
See at the top of your screen, you're going to see 71 at the left tackle spot. And you're going to see his hands on the outside, and he's just holding the collar there of the Memphis defender, making it easy for the side judge as well as the umpire to make that call.
So now 3rd and 1 turns into 3rd and 11 for Shane Buechele in this offense. Mustangs need the 35. Over the middle, and it's hauled in by Granson for a first down. That'll momentarily stop the clock until the ball is spotted. SMU's got 2 timeouts.
Mr. Reliable getting it done over the middle for this SMU offense.
Buechele under pressure. Can't get away from O'Brien Goodson, and SMU's going to have to use one of its timeouts.
Well, that just crushes you. It's the equivalent to another holding penalty. O'Brien Goodson
takes her 2nd charge time out of the half.
He's one of
those.
This
is a 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 22 seconds. 22 on the game clock, please.
It's one of those little guys that Mike McIntyre talked about defensively that is so disruptive, making the play in the sack.
A UFC fight night tonight from Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. Former bantamweight champ Holly Holm takes on rising star Irene Aldana in the main event. Prelims start at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus, with the main card at 10:30 Eastern. So 2nd and 16 now, and that has been the story for SMU for the better part of 2.5 quarters now. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Chris Nagar, 6 for 6, the grad transfer walk-on from Texas.
They better score. I ain't trying to go to overtime. They better score.
Bouchel to the sideline. He's got Upshaw diving forward for extra yards. And they'll mark him out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Sets up a 3rd and manageable.
3rd and manageable, and whatever you do here, you cannot go backwards.
SMU with a timeout. Clock is stopped with 18 seconds.
Again, Nagar, their kicker, 6 for 6 on the season, long of 46. So they're in good shape right now with him in the kicking game.
Bouchel will just throw it away. And Nagar now with a chance to be the hero for SMU.
If Shane Bouchel would have had slightly more patience, he could have dunked that down on the check down to Ulysses Bentley. And instead, I think he got a little nervous, didn't want anything bad to happen. I understand that. And now you're still in position in the kicking game. But that was a convertible 3rd down.
This will be about a 43-yarder to give SMU the lead. They've never trailed in this game.
Memphis takes their first charge timeout of the half.
And now Ryan
This
Silverfield
is a 30-second timeout.
will make Nagar think a little longer about the biggest kick of his career. NFL Sunday begins with countdown at 10 a.m. Eastern. A lot of news to get to, including news out of New England. Earlier today, Cam Newton will not play because of COVID for the Patriots. They'll fill you in on everything 10 a.m. Eastern Sunday. Chris Nagar, 6 for 6 on the season, 2 for 2 today. A chance to give SMU the lead in the waning moments of the 4th quarter. He's hit from as far as 46.
Yeah.
This is from 43.
Listen, it hasn't been perfect today for either team, but I think if you're Ryan Silverfield, regardless of the outcome or the result of this play, you've got to be awfully proud of what your team has brought to the field after being off for 1 month.
Derek Green is the holder. And we get another whistle.
Prior to the snap, Memphis takes their second charge timeout of the half.
You know, that's not
This
a
is a
bad
30-second
idea.
timeout.
Take the practice rep. Nice and easy. You swing through it. He nails it. All right, so now he gets that out of his.
This is a full charge timeout.
He's got the smile on his face. He seems loose, and good for him. That was smart. Look how long it took for them to snap this ball. They didn't care if it got blown dead. Snap it anyway. I like that move.
Derek Green, the holder. He is the son of the former NFL All-Pro Trent Green and Chris Nagar. On for the biggest kick of his career.
See if he gets a second practice attempt.
This one is up, and it's good. This is what Sonny Dykes did not have last year. We asked him about special teams. He felt they've closed the gap, and he pointed to Chris Nagar, who is the kicking unit, punter, kickoff man, place kicker, and he comes through for SMU.
Speaking with Sonny Dykes this week, you asked him specifically, what did you learn off of the game last year versus Memphis? The first thing I learned is we had to go out and get a kicker. That was the first answer he gave us. And you know what? Ice water in that young man's veins. This was a tough, hard-earned win where you lose two major contributors, one being a star in Reggie Robertson, the other in your starting running back, TJ McDaniel. Lose both of them for the game. And you found a way to win this game late through what? The kicking game. We talked about it early in the third quarter. It's going to come down to something along those lines when you have two teams evenly as matched as these two are.
Remember last year, Memphis won this game in large part on the strength of special teams.
Yep.
And I would not sleep here if Nagar can't put it in the end zone and Gabriel Rogers, you have a return man for Memphis who has a kick return touchdown. And in the last 4 years, Memphis has 11 return touchdowns on kickoffs, most in the country. And Memphis will try it. Rogers slips and he's dropped back at the 6-yard line. Massey with a huge play on special teams. And Chris Nagar, that was part 2 of what he had to do to seal this for SMU.
That's right. Kick it deep, put it back, put Memphis in a position to have to make a poor choice by thinking you got to return it and come out when you could have just fair caught it, come out to the 25-yard line. That puts them in a huge hole. Back-to-back years, over 1,000 yards of total offense between these two teams in 2 fantastic football games. But now you're backed up on your own 5, and you don't have enough time on the clock to help you out here if you're Memphis on offense.
They'll afford Rogers a little forward progress, and the ball is spotted at the 9-yard line. One last chance for Memphis. Over the middle, Dykes will lateral it back to Coxie. It hits the turf. SMU has it. They snap a 6-game losing streak to Memphis, and the Mustangs improve to 4-0. Two key players go down for SMU. They find a way. Special teams now a strength for the Mustangs in 2020. And I don't think you can say enough about the way Memphis played. A long layoff. They battled. These are 2 incredibly talented teams and 2 of the best in the American.
Yeah, great foundation for Memphis to build upon. Shane Buechele for SMU, 474 yards through the air. That's a personal record for him.
SMU wins it on a late field goal by Nagar. 30-27 your final. Tulsa and UCF coming your way next.